You already fucked up.
Yo, welcome back, Full Heel Podcast. I am your host, Rafael Chairez, the host of the Full Heel Podcast. Today, my guest is Ryan, the Canadian Destroyer. What's going on, Ryan?
Well, both.
What was it?
I thought I'd try to do the whole podcast as Andre.
Oh, okay.
No.
Is that
Hey,
what,
boss.
that's what I couldn't understand you.
Yeah, exactly. Was the guy Rob Reiner said he went in for the audition. He read a couple lines like I can't understand a word he's saying.
That's that gigantism or that pituitary gland or whatever
Yeah.
it was that was all fucked up on him. Hogan, I challenge you for the title.
Oh man, I love it.
Yeah, so today we are going to cover Andre the Giant. Someone asked us to do a watch along for the documentary. That's not going to work. The documentary is a lot of talking and a lot of not matches from Andre. It's a bunch of clips and different stuff. So we're still going to do Andre the Giant, but we're going to talk about the documentary. We both watched it. It's the documentary on the WWF or WWE network.
Look at you trying to promote yourself.
Yeah, right. But it's under documentaries or originals and then documentaries, and it's Andre the Giant. I think it was the HBO one. That's the one that we did. But I think it's the only Andre the Giant one on there.
It's the only one that I saw. Yeah, like under his documentaries or any specials that I saw anyway.
Yeah, so go ahead and watch that after you guys check out the podcast over here. Before we get into it, though, I have officially been put on quarantine. My job is not closed down, but I can't go. I don't know when. I can't go back when. I work with a dude that his girlfriend is a nurse, and someone on the floor has coronavirus. I think she worked on her for like 3 to 4 minutes, something like that. He contacted our job and told them the situation. They told him he can't go to work until she gets cleared, or here's word back from the hospital as of when she's good. He came into contact with me because we work together, so I am advised to stay home as well. All good though. I have sick days. I have vacation days. I will get paid. I don't know how or it's gonna be figured out. I talked to my boss. My boss called me, told me the situation, even though I already knew it was up. So all good over here. I don't have corona, but I am under quarantine for the near future. So it means I got a couple days off, vacation.
Get a lot of wrestling in.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some
That's all
wrestling
you
in.
do. Just watch a bunch of classics.
Yeah.
That's all I've been doing. Yeah, hit home here. I'm unemployed.
I'm gonna start crying right now. No, well,
It's rough, man. It's weird. Like I went 20 years, never was out of a job. And I walked into work last week, and they're like, "Okay, we're going down to one shift only every single day. We're not making anything at this location. It's gonna get made at all the other stores and get brought in." I'm like, "Okay, so like, what does that mean?" It's like, well, a bunch of you guys are gonna be out of a job. I'm like, oh, all right.
damn, till it opens back up.
Until they want, yeah, like right now there's only one person working,
Mm-hmm.
so they're basically just putting like higher management running the places, and that's it. And yeah, I get family time, so I got unemployment insurance coming. And there's benefits and kickbacks from the government coming in too. So there's some hard times coming, baby, but we persevere.
Gotta be strong, baby.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm lucky because like I got benefits too. That's so I guess we're both pretty lucky on that end. But
Yeah.
I got like I said, I think our job is essential, so we were giving more days off in case people needed it. I had sick days, I have vacation days, so I will be good. And that check that we're supposedly getting from the government, I'm going to use it to finally get that computer I have been talking about
Oh, nice.
for the podcast. I will invest it into that. That way I can bring Full Heel Gaming to here as well, so I can start gaming while we podcast, multiple screens, multiple stuff, a lot of more features that will be able to be added to the computer, and then I will have the base to build off of there, so I can add better cameras, uh, a mixer with a mic, just so it can process everything at once while it's uploading and doing all this other shit. So the base of it is going to be bought once I get that check. I'm going to drop a bunch of money into that and see how much it's going to be. I'm going to get good processors, good video cards, and good things
Just put
coming
a lot of
for.
investment into yourself there.
Yeah, yeah,
That's way to
and
do it.
yeah, just hoping I don't get anything. I don't, like I said, I feel fine. She feels fine. He feels fine. It's just a precautionary measure, so we're not that way. We're not what is it? Asymptomatic carriers where we don't feel anything.
Yeah, like,
We're
there's some people that like get affected really bad, and there's other people that have it and it runs its course, and they're like, I never felt anything at all. I was around someone, so I got tested. I had it. I felt fine the whole time. I got tested again. It was clear. Then they're like, I just never felt the change. And you get other people who they can't stop coughing. Some people run the fevers. Like it's everyone's symptoms are kind of different. So it's kind of what's what makes it so scary, right? Like you could be a carrier for 2 weeks and not know it and pass it on to so many people just because you felt fine.
Yeah, yeah. So I was kind of I self quarantine anyway. I just stick to my room and play video games and podcast in here and stay with all my shit. Now I guess I'm forced to do it. I'm gonna have 8 hours of extra stuff to do, so this should be fine. I got a lot of old video games, a lot of new video games, and stuff to do. So
You can start the coronavirus podcast network.
the Coronavirus Chronicles.
Yeah, just do a podcast a day, just describing what you did.
Well, to be honest, since it has started, I guess you can check it out on Football on Full Heel. The first picture I started doing with the coronavirus thing was a joke, and now it's kind of
Oh
become
yeah, yeah.
we've kind of been forced into quarantine, and now it's either on the picture or on the YouTube screen floating around. I
Right,
sort of
yeah,
search
yeah.
around there so often, so they haven't been labeled as that, but they kind of are if you go by the picture or the video, the quarantine tapes where we've had to go on where either people have been on quarantine, I've had to go on quarantine, you've had to go on quarantine. It's the Coronavirus Chronicles, people.
That's it. Yeah, coming soon to a podcast network near you.
Yeah, yeah. With that being said, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, Podbean, iTunes,
What's
Instagram,
wrong here,
all
Daddy?
that stuff. Shout
I
outs
don't
to
know,
Ryan's
Daddy.
kids.
There's a windstorm or some sort.
Oh, well, it's getting windy and maybe rainy out. Nothing. There's not going to be anything scary.
Not tornado.
Not tornado. Don't worry. I
The
promise.
Texas
No tornado.
tornado. Hi.
Hi.
Stay safe.
Yeah, stay safe.
The Texas tornado.
Get out of here. I love you.
Oh no! What's up with Connor?
I don't know, but they were at the park and just now they're walking up the hallway and he had no pants on, so I'm not sure. Something happened at the park.
He's living the
I'm
life.
I'm guessing they hit some mud, and I'm hoping he hit some mud.
Best case scenario, it is mud. And,
Yeah.
and not poop.
And yeah.
Not poop. I don't know where I was. Yeah, but go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. Me and Ryan, we do watch-alongs. Maybe we'll do more watch-alongs now that I have time. I'm not working. Let's see. Subscribe to Football on Full Heel. All the soccer stuff. Oh, shit. Did Skype close down on me? Let me see if I can get Ryan back on. Not again. Last time this happened, but Ryan started mentioning Corona and then his thing went down. Yo!
We're back.
What happened there? Was that me or was that you?
It just said connection lost.
Oh, okay.
Carla came and said it was really windy out there, so I don't know, maybe something, I don't know.
I'm pretty ripped, so I don't know if I accidentally closed the window. I don't think I did, but you know.
No. Anyway, we're back.
Yeah, we're back. Go ahead and check out Football on Full Heel as well. I was saying, I don't know. I don't know if you heard me. Maybe we could do more of these if I'm out more days. Like maybe.
Yeah, definitely. I can probably easily sneak away for like an hour and a half, 2 hour show here and there for definitely.
Yeah, we'll see what's up. I don't know how
I'll
long I'm
go.
gonna be out.
I got some time, so whatever you throw at the bat signal, and we can do like even like the an hour long like Saturday Night Main Event kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just something like just get in and out.
I love you. I love you.
I love you too.
Go ahead and check out Football on Full Heel. That is Frankie's podcast. They've been on hiatus for 2 weeks, but there is no football right now or football, so they can't really do a podcast. So
Actually, Frankie's slipping. If there's the Belarusian league is still up and running. So Frankie, start watching some Belarusian Premier League action or whatever it is.
Who's their best team, Ryan? Go ahead. Name their best player.
Go. I don't know. Alexander Gleb.
Rusev.
Yeah. I mean, I saw just a quick off topic, but there was an article I was reading. It's the only soccer league still going. It's in Belarus, and they said that the season opened with 750 people in the stadium, which means it was half full. So I mean, they're seating 1,500 people in their national stadium. So kind of tells you why they're not too concerned about the virus spreading.
I don't know what to think about this. I'm just going to try to avoid it as much as possible.
That's it. Right. Well, that's like I shared the article. I'm not sure if you saw, but like they were saying the next two cities in the States are starting to get hit harder, Detroit and Chicago.
Yeah. Well, people
I see that. And
here, dude.
And my first, I read that, and my first thought is, oh, good, Jeff and Raph. I'm like,
well, like I don't know if you saw, like on Wednesday or Tuesday, it might have been Thursday. They were closing down the parks because idiots won't stop going to the parks, and like they went to the beach. And
oh yeah,
the Littlefoot was super pissed about that because no one should be out there.
Well, they got like people going to spring break still. It's like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Christ almighty, people.
So now I don't know exactly what they're gonna do if that keeps happening, but I think they're gonna find people, take them to jail.
Yeah, they're saying like in Vancouver, it's I think it's like a $1,000 fine if you are caught in a mass gathering. It's if you are caught serving food as an employee, like to a customer in a restaurant or in like anything right now, you can be fined up to $100,000. The employee and the business can get fined up to $10 million.
Oof.
They want to like make sure that you are following all protocol.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of barbershops being closed down for trying to open up and stay open. They're not trying to adhere by the ordinance, so they're just saying.
That's why I see. That's why I was laughing. Everyone's like, "Oh, why do you only cut your own hair? Why don't you trust someone? Oh, why do you guys homeschool? Oh, like, why did you want to be a cook?" I'm like, now I got food. Now I look good, and my kids are still getting educated, and I have no stress in life minus the no working.
Mm-hmm.
So I was smart. I prepared at a young age.
I'm not smart. Well,
I'm the cook good, and
yeah.
you don't have to worry about the hair. So.
Ow. Yeah, I don't have to worry about the hair, and I don't have to worry about work either for the next couple of days at least.
Man, oh man.
And that check's coming in too. Oh yeah, I can't wait for that. They said it was gonna come in quick too.
That's what. Yeah, every country is like, yeah, we're gonna reimburse you, and the checks will be there, done.
Print out that money.
That's it. Like an ATM.
Yeah, get the machines going. Let's see, what else, Ryan? What have you been up to besides the Rona?
Nothing.
Ryan.
I've been like,
am I not ahead of the curve here? Tell me I'm not ahead of curve.
Oh,
we were talking about it last week.
Yeah,
I was telling you about Tiger King.
I got that sucker on the other night. I was like, I'm bored. I'm gonna put this.
Yeah, I'm like, Ryan. I'm like, you gotta watch this, Ryan. I know that was last week. I'm like, you gotta watch this.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I watched whatever day it was, Wednesday or Thursday. I was sitting at, everyone was in bed sleeping. I'm like, I'll put it on. Sure, check it out. Oh man. Like, what a dumpster fire that is.
It was so awesome. Because I watched it after after Infinity War. I threw Infinity War, and then I want to do some cleaning, so I threw it on as a palate cleanser.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then I was gonna watch Endgame, and I didn't wind up finishing Endgame till the next day, because Tiger King took over. It literally took over
That's
what I
right.
was
Yeah,
doing.
that's right. Yeah, you said that. You were like, you sat down with like one episode and you ended up like 4 or 5 episodes in.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? And I'm like, well, I'm almost done with the series. And then I just finished it the next day along with Endgame, and then we recorded. And I was talking to you about it, and then at work, I downloaded some podcast. I think Legion of Skanks, the Real Ass Podcast, Brendan Schaub, and Will the Fighter and the Kid, and they're talking about Tiger King, and I'm like, what the fuck? No way, I got ahead of it. And they're talking about how badass it was, and I'm like, yeah, I thought it was badass too. That's what I was telling Ryan about it. Like, it was fucking crazy. And then the memes start coming little by little, and it's hilarious to see how they've expanded out to the different communities of different interest and how they meme it to their own interest. It's pretty hilarious. Like the Office people.
The one that I sent to you with Joe Exotic and his two husbands. And it's like, I'm gonna tell my kids this is 3-man band.
yeah, it gets to the wrestling community.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's so.
Yeah,
but it's like the one thing I've really learned is that with meth you can get away with anything. Like,
what I've learned is if you have cats, you can get a lot of pussy, and I don't mean just cats.
Yeah. You can get away with murder.
I guess you could, like, I don't know, people who want to marry you, because it wasn't just pussy. This guy had fucking 3 dudes. Yeah. He got with 3 different dudes in this. Yeah. This thing, because he still had a boy toy.
Like, I got meth. I have expired Walmart meat, and I have a dumpy trailer. And they're like, man. Like, yeah. There was no second.
Say no more.
The hardest part for me was when homegirl gets her arm bit by the tiger, and they're just like calling the 911 call, whatever. And then it shows, I love Joe Exotic. He has a paramedic's coat.
Yeah.
For some reason, it's like I feel like he got that like a secondhand store.
I don't know where he got it.
Runs over. But when he's like looking at her arm, and they're trying to like pixelate it, but then you can see him move a hunk of flesh down the bone, and it's like, oh god, it was like, I'm watching. I'm like, how is this girl not completely just passed out? She was like there the whole time. He's like, you stay with me. She's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm like, the fuck? What are you made of? Like,
yeah, it was pretty bad. Because now she just has a nub.
A nub. Yeah, she got a nub. Yeah.
Is it from the elbow down or from like the elbow?
I think it's somewhere.
She doesn't have an elbow, right?
No, I think it was.
Does she have a little bit of a bend
around the elbow? Right, I think it was like right at the joint. But yeah, like when they were. When she's like, yeah, I didn't want the media to win by having me in the hospital, so I told them just lop it off and I get back to work. She's like, I was back at work within 5 days.
Yeah, she's fucking. All those people are crazy.
Oh well, I mean, you don't feel anything with meth.
Yeah, I guess.
They're like, how can you stay awake for like 24 hours, 7 days a week? Meth.
Yeah. The thing that got me to really stick to it was as soon as he's like, yeah, I got out of prison and there were really no jobs for me, and I went on Craigslist, and now I'm manager of the Big Cat Sanctuary. I was like, what the fuck? I need to watch this.
Well, those guys, they're like they get out of jail for like drug possession. They have no knowledge of anything in life, and then they're operating with a 500-pound animal that can kill you at any moment.
Why not, bro?
It's like, what world are we living in that can happen? This seems impossible.
What could go wrong?
I mean, at least Doc
Hendricks?
I can't think of the guy's last name. What was it? Bogovan, Doc Antel. Doc Antel. I mean, he was raping girls and all, but at least he was giving them an education too. Like, he taught them. Like,
that guy. Yeah, he was grooming them from young age. Hey, you can work with cats. You guys work for me. And then let me fuck you once you turn of age.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to pay for you to get some breast surgery, like that one girl, whatever. Get you some implants. She's like, I didn't even get a chance to say yes or no. They already had the thing booked. It's like, oh my God. Like, what? oh my god, like that guy got so many scummy people in that documentary. There's not one person that you can look at and be like, "Yeah, it's a stand-up citizen of the community."
Nobody.
No.
Nobody in it.
But yeah, man, it was that's I guess big cats and giant wrestlers. That's been my week.
Yeah. So I should have told you earlier that we were gonna do Andre the Giant, but I told you yesterday. I'm like, hey, what's up with Andre the Giant? You down to watch the documentary and do it? You're like, yep, let's do it.
Oh yeah.
So, like I said, we threw on the documentary. It's not really going to be a watch along unless you want to throw it on, Ryan. But I say we talk about documentary, give a little bit of history on Andre the Giant, and
Yeah,
then
for sure.
we could throw on a match or two, and we could
Like
break
I
it
said,
up.
right now I'm just rocking out Wrestlemania 3 being the anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
So I just got that playing in the background for me right now. But
Is today Wrestlemania 3?
yeah, 33 years ago was the Slam heard around the world.
How far in are you? I could just put it on at the same time.
I'm at 116 exactly right now. It's the Hart Foundation are in the ring with Jesse Ventura.
Jesse the Body Ventura here. WrestleMania 3. Damn, how many kids do you have there, Ryan?
Sounds like a gaggle, but just the two. Man, I mean, they go to the park. Who knows? They may have picked a couple more up.
Yeah, I'm saying, you guys having a kids party? No
Like,
social distancing. All right, Ryan.
It's funny, like, because my mother-in-law's with us right now, and when the three of them get like laughing, it's oh my god, it's like a whole daycare class. It's awesome.
You said you were an hour in what in?
Right now it's 1:16:45.
Can you pause it there?
Yeah, I'll go 1:16:50.
1:16:50. All right, cool. Let me get to that, and then I'll press play at 1:16:50. So WrestleMania 3 go to 1:16:50. We might not even watch it till the end, but who knows?
Yeah, just like I said, like, we were talking Andre, and I thought, it's the anniversary of WrestleMania 3. I'll put it on, just have it in the background, and plus it's Andre's most iconic matches takes place there. So.
And you said 1:16:53.
50, but the sake of 3 seconds isn't the end of the world.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm at 1:16. Let's see. All right, I'm at 1:16:50.
Perfect.
All right, cool. Danny Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. I'm there. I'm right there too. But yeah, I guess we can go ahead and talk about Andre the Giant. Like I said, it's not. It can't really be a watch along.
Yeah, it's hard to do watch-alongs with the documentaries and that, because while they do talk some matches and some moments, it's a lot more just giving the history of the person, which it's hard. You'd have to have subtitles on, or you're going to be picking up a lot of background noise. So,
I guess
I
guess subtitles would have worked, but we would have been reading and trying to talk at the same time, and I'm not that smart.
But it gives us, instead of a watch-along, we can just do a talk about.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It works one way or another.
Mm-hmm. So Andre the Giant was Andre Renee Roussimoff. Is the Black Widow? Isn't that her name? Isn't that her last name? Roussimoff?
I think so.
Natasha Roussimoff? Natalia Roussimoff? Let's see. I'm gonna figure it out. But yeah, no, he was Andre Renee Roussimoff. He was born May 19th, 1946. And he really didn't start getting his size till around 15 years old. He started getting bigger.
Yeah, I think they said that he was like around like the 12 to 15 was when he really started just to like spike. Mm-hmm. And again, they said when he was 15 he was like 240 pounds. It's like it's weird to think of that. Like, I mean, that's bigger than me at 20 years younger than me.
Yeah, it's bigger than everyone, Ryan. Once he started Grossberg.
Well, I just think myself are great now. Like, right now, me, like, even if you take 20 years off, it's still like pounds and pounds upon pounds on me.
Yeah. At one point, I think when he was 19, he was like 309 pounds, but he looked super skinny. Um,
I mean, I mean, it's he was always massive, but his head in some of those older pictures and videos looked, not to make a joke, but looked like a bobblehead.
yeah.
It's so weird to see, like, because he was, you could tell he was tall and big, but his head was not proportioned to his body at all at that time.
Hmm. Sorry, Black Widow is Natalia Romanoff, not
Ah,
Rusimov. Very similar, but not the same. He's been said to play soccer and was playing rugby when wrestlers came up to him and just kind of just started training with him. And then eventually, I guess someone dropped out of a tournament or some bullshit, and they asked him to join, and that started off his wrestling career, kind of. But I guess they were doing real wrestling at the time.
yeah, more like the Greco-Roman style
Yeah.
before, like, yeah, before it became more. Yeah, 'cause I guess there are probably some small organizations and promotions in mainly England, I would probably guess, but it was definitely much more of a North American. I think North American and Japan maybe.
Yeah. So in 1964, Andre made his professional wrestling debut in Paris, being managed by. Well, that's where he met up with a manager or his future manager. Um, what was his name? Frank Vialos. I guess he was Andre the Giant's name. There was the Giant Fairy.
Yeah, there was like the folklore, the French folklore,
Hmm. Kind
of
of
like
like a
a
lumberjack figure in French folklore, and that's kind of what they
yeah.
portrayed Andre as well. A lumberjack kind of being. They even had like a vignette or like an interview of him
I was gonna
chopping
say
wood.
he's chopping wood, and the guy says, "Oh, so you're just a regular everyday lumberjack?" He goes, "Ah, for now, but I'm quitting to get into professional wrestling." And I'm watching, I'm trying to figure out like what like that. It's such an early vignette that it looked like a legitimate TV interview. It didn't look like a vignette at all.
Hmm. Yeah, so I got a little ahead of myself. In 1966 is when he meets Frank Valios or Valios, and then he became Andre's advisor slash manager. And in 1970, Andre debuts in Japan as the Monster Rusimov. So that's his title over there, and he kind of moved from France to Japan because his fame started dwindling. They only could use him so much as a big giant guy. They really didn't know how to use him, as we'll later see that they figure it out.
And you'll see too, like especially for this era of wrestling, how well it worked when he went eventually goes to the States. Because France, he wasn't able to travel necessarily to England, to Scotland, to Ireland, to Germany, to Austria, to Italy. Like he wasn't able to go necessarily all across Europe for say 8 weeks to 8 to 12 weeks, maybe like he would eventually end up doing
Hmm.
when he went to the States. So like, the novelty would have worn off in France very quickly. So I mean, he's the fact that he was able to get to France and continue to like learn and build himself. I think it was very good because if he had stayed in France, it probably would have been like a generic career until he figured something else out to do, or would have just been I don't even know, like maybe like the Bruno Sammartino. You know what I mean? Just be like a champion forever until something were to happen, kind of deal. You know?
Hmm. 1971, Andre moves to Canada, where he there also gained success like his previous success in single competition and in tag team competition, but eventually that dwindles as well. Once they don't want to kill their baby faces and put Andre over with them, there's really nothing more they can do with him. They really don't have ideas for him. So this is where Valios goes over kind of and talks to Vince McMahon and asks for Vince McMahon's advice. And Vince kind of advises him to make
Senior, by the way.
Vince Senior, sorry, in the WWF, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, before Vince and Kennedy McMahon bought it out from his father. But Vince's dad thought of making more of an attraction of Andre than a wrestling badass. He didn't need the belt when he first arrived there. They didn't even need to make him the big monster. Well, he was a
Right.
big monster. He was lifting a lot of weight. I think it was like 2,000 pound bell that they were making him lift. He would have mainly battle royals, shit like that. They
Handicap matches and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
2-on-1
Like,
matches. They just made him seem bigger than life instead of. But they also know how to put on good matches instead of. I don't know what they were doing everywhere else.
yeah, I can like judging by a guy can go by, say like Bret Hart's book when he talks about his early days in Stampede Wrestling, how it was just very very basic matches, a lot more grappling with wrestling move like some wrestling moves incorporated into it. Whereas yeah, like the McMahons have always had like an entertainment value to their product, which you saw grow into other organizations in the 70s.
Yeah, so I guess we could talk about the territories for a little bit, just to cover for anyone confused about what we mean by territories, or if they've never really known what that is. But so when Andre moved from Canada to the United States, or to be kind of advised slash managed by Vince Senior. Vince advised to loan them out to the different territories. They can make a lot of different travel. What you call it, bookings in different areas and different territories, and keep them fresh.
It's kind of like it sounds horrible, but for especially I guess for back then when you'd have like the circus and the freak shows would come in,
Yeah.
they would just come into town, everyone would go to see it, and then it would just leave town.
Mm-hmm.
Same deal with like the territories. They would book a big guy like say Andre. They would come in for 6 to 8 weeks, take on a couple guys, and then go to the next territory. So you would see him once a year, once every 2 years. Um, he would never like you had the chance to build up other people for him to take on when he would come back into your territory like months or a year plus later. So you could have like your heavyweight champion of your division, or I guess the NWA would have just been like the traveling champion, but your top tier guys. You'd have your baby faces. They were on top of everything, and then in comes Andre, and he would take on them, and then win, lose, draw, whatever, he would be able to take off and go off to the next territory and do the exact same thing. And then when he would come back to your territory, he would, oh well, last time he was here, he ran roughshod. Is there anyone now that we've got new guys here? Can this guy beat him? Can that guy beat him? And that's something that we, in some ways, you almost need that now for some guys to help characters build. Like it's the one thing about not having territories that kind of sucks in this era, but for back then, it was amazing to have this attraction come into your town for a few weeks and just, like I said, just destroy everyone on the roster over and over and over and over again, and then just disappear, and you don't know when he's coming back.
Mm-hmm. So, I guess during the territories and he's being loaned out, he does come in contact with Hulk Hogan. He does have matches with Hulk Hogan. In the early 80s, he's more famous
including I think it was 77 or 78, Hogan slammed him.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't the first time that, spoiler alert, it wasn't the first time that Andre had been slammed. Not only slammed, but beaten by Hulk Hogan.
That's another one. Yeah, just beaten.
Yeah, sorry, beaten. He had been beaten by other people, not just Hulk Hogan. Sorry, or slammed by Hulk Hogan, but he had been beaten because they had also said that he was undefeated for like 15 years. Once he came into the WWF for about 15 years, I guess his time frame there, or expanding a little bit before that. They said he was undefeated, which is also untrue. I forgot who in Mexican wrestler El Carlo or something like that. I forget his name exactly. Had defeated him, a masked wrestler.
And that's the other thing with the territories is that you could have him get pinned, and when he goes somewhere else, he's never been seen before, so he's never lost. You can make up whatever story you want about his background, but you can't do that anymore.
Yeah. So due to the territory thing, he was able to keep such a
A mythology to him.
yeah. Was that the right word? I was going to use that. I just didn't think it was the right word.
Yeah. I think mythology did about him, yeah.
He built a mystique.
Yeah, that's a good one, yeah.
He built a mystique for being undefeated and no one beating him. And people wanted to see him. He was...
and the talking. Like, the fact that he couldn't talk even added to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it made him to be, like, more of this monster. The fact that he barely... he just walked in there, beat you down, and then left, and that was it. Like, the fact that he couldn't cut a promo almost made him scarier.
Yeah. And now we kind of have a territories thing going on here, but the WWE seems to be trying to eat up all the... It's more of an indie talent versus top talent, or I wouldn't even call it top talent. I would say main event talent, I guess. Whatever main event talent means. But it's a battle between AEW and WWE right now at the moment, eating up those different territories or...
Oh, and NWA and Impact.
Mm-hmm. They're in it too, I guess. But
they're around.
They actually they couldn't continue their wrestling right now, I think.
No, I think AEW and WWE are probably the only ones that can sustain anything right now with everything that's going on.
I know NWA was able to have some pre-recorded ones, but that's only going to last for a certain amount of time.
Yeah. Eventually, you're going to have to take like the no show, no pay approach to it, which sucks for the guys.
Oh, sorry, it was to Canek or Canek from Mexico.
That's Spanish for the meat.
What?
El Carne, the meat.
All right, Ryan, I guess. I don't know who he is, so I'm like, I don't know.
I've never heard of the guy before. Yeah. I don't know. But his submission loss, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, what lock did he put on Andre?
Inoki as well submitted the Giant.
No?
I don't know. That's what it's saying here. Yeah, so in the early 80s, he feuds with Hogan, even though his more famous matches would come in the late 80s. Anything else on his early career, Ryan? Because he's kind of in the WWE for the 15-year undefeated streak that they like to talk about.
Yeah, the only story that I really love from his early days is when he's in Stampede Wrestling, and there was a story that Bret Hart talks about where they had to get from the airport to the arena, or from the arena to the airport, or something, in a crazy amount of time. They were in like a snowstorm, and Bret's brother just speeds the whole way, and I forget if they get pulled over by the cops or if they make it to the airport, but one way or another. He said like Andre was just like livid and refused to talk with Bret for like years after that. They were in different organizations at the time, but eventually when they did reconnect in WWF, Bret said that they were good. Everything was able to be explained, but his brother was like doing like just like crazy speeding like in a snowstorm on the highway in the middle of the night, and Andre was just like terrified that he was gonna die. And you can imagine Andre like in like those old school like early 80s, late 70s vans with 10 other guys around him. Like that thing would have been packed tighter than a can of sardines.
Yeah. So in the documentary, they get into how much Andre liked flatulence and how bad his fart smelled. How bad do you think a Giant's fart would smell, Ryan? Especially beer farts too.
I was gonna say, yeah, that, like when Flair said that he put down, or the two of them combined for 106 beers, you got to think that 80 of those were Andre.
Yeah, the majority of those were.
And you got to believe the next day, you don't want to be riding behind him. Well, there was a story from Princess Bride where he's on set and he was in pain, or he wasn't feeling 100%, so they paused production. And Andre, they said, as the legend goes, he let off a 16-second fart, And when you finished, I think when the directors or producers or someone had said, hey, Andre, hey, you feeling better? He goes, or is Andre, are you okay? And Andre just replied, I am now, boss. And that was it. But just
I've heard
imagine
that story as well.
a
Yeah,
16-second fart. Like, good God, that's like, I
it's
can't even
almost
hold my
like
breath that long.
it's almost like Tom Segura's mom. Have you ever heard her fart?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that fart's epic. Epic. That's almost like a giant's fart.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go online and put Tom Segura's mom's fart, and you'll know what I'm talking about after that.
Yeah, it's.
I laughed.
I laughed so hard I think it was on Joe Rogan when I first heard about that.
Yeah, he's played it on Joe a couple times. They have merch. He's got his mom on the her like her face turned around and shit where it says "You're not my son."
Yeah.
Yeah, she farts like a giant, but no. Apparently, like airplane pilots would say that they would never travel again because fucking.
Oh yeah. They couldn't stand being on the flight.
Yeah, because Andre would fart all crazy.
That was the other crazy thing. I didn't think about like washroom sizes for him in the documentary when they were talking about like when they're on the plane, he couldn't fit in the bathrooms, so they had to close the curtain and he had to go in a bucket, and then someone had to take the bucket and dump it down the toilet.
Oh yeah.
Ugh, like.
Yeah. How much do you know about what was that movie that you were talking about that he did?
Princess Bride?
Yeah, the Princess Bride movie. How much have you ever seen that movie? I've never seen that movie.
I've seen it a few times, but I haven't seen like it's been probably at least 15, 20 years since I've seen it. I was easily in high school last time I saw it.
How prominent is Andre's part in there? Does he have a
I
big part in
honestly
it?
don't remember. I feel like he has a fairly large part because he's Andre the Giant in the 80s. I want to say I feel stupid that I don't know it because I feel like I should know that movie better than I do.
Yeah, I've never seen it, so I don't know anything about it.
I know it's a cult classic, and there like people like have like expos and that with that movie, and it's loved. But I'm not that big of a diehard fan of it, to be honest.
Yeah. Before we go on, did you hear any of the changes that's going on with Wrestlemania 36?
Yeah, there's a lot of guys pulling out.
I hear. So here's what I know. Let me know if you've heard it or add on to whatever you might have heard. I heard The Miz showed up sick. Roman Reigns said, "Fuck this. I'm out of WrestleMania because The Miz is sick and I have a compromised immune system." What I'm hearing now is that Daniel Bryan is also out. I heard.
Okay. I heard this morning that Daniel Bryan's getting a title shot against Sami Zayn, intercontinental title.
Okay.
That's what I heard this morning. But I also heard that The Miz was out, but now The Miz is involved in a tag team ladder match with the Usos and the New Day.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where that stands because it's stuff that I saw this morning.
Mm-hmm.
But I heard yesterday all these guys that had pulled out. So I don't know where they're at with that.
Yeah, a lot of weird shit's going on because I'm guessing they're thinking it's unsafe. Well, and they have the right to think whatever they want to think. And it might be too many people. They might not feel safe. The Miz might have been really sick and put them in an unsafe environment.
Yep.
Which I hear a lot of people are pissed because I hear that's the case.
Well, and that's the thing that I couldn't understand what they were doing. Like, I like the idea of the empty shows and all that, but better things could have been done. You're already not having fans, so what? You're not making money on these shows. You are losing money on these shows for the most, because you have to pay your performers, and you're gonna have more than 100 people probably when you look at the like backstage camera, announcers, performers, referee, like all that stuff, you're gonna have too many people in one area that if one person gets sick, then you're compromising a lot of people. And like I've mentioned to you a couple weeks back with all this stuff, I wondered if Roman Reigns was gonna make it or not because of the not cancer, but leukemia that he had. I didn't think that he was gonna make it, and then when I saw that he was stepping out, I was like, well, it was a matter of time. Like, not to sound cynical, but I didn't think he was going to make that walk at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
And now Strowman gets a chance, and I don't know if they're going to put the belt on Strowman.
Strowman's going against old dude?
Goldberg?
Yeah.
Yeah, your favorite?
Oldberg?
Oldberg. I like that, Oldberg. I like that.
Dude, I would continue watching, but they have Gronk, so I'm getting the Gronk out.
For me, it's hard because like it's not the same with the fans in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like the audience participation is so crucial and is so big. Like when you're watching, like it's almost like watching just training videos or something. Like
yeah, a lot more stuff is easily pointed, like noticeable, like their horrible acting, how they're queuing up spots. I don't know. It really isn't the same. And like AEW, look, and I want to be as least critical as I can, but here's the thing: AEW is putting on good shows. Why can't WWE do it?
I feel like WWE is trying too hard. I feel like they're trying to put on WrestleMania in empty stadiums on a weekly basis, twice a week, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas AEW is just doing independent shows. I mean, there are a lot of big WWE named guys in that organization, but a lot of those guys also spent a lot of years in the independent scenes. So they know how to wrestle in front of smaller crowds than a lot of guys in WWF would know. So
that is true. That is true. I didn't think about that one, Ryan. I didn't think about that one.
That's the one advantage that AEW has right now. But
is that a backhanded compliment to them?
No. It's like I said, like I don't like. There's a lot of things with AEW I can't stand.
Mm-hmm.
Much like there's a lot of things with WWE I can't stand.
I know, we know, Ryan. You hate the tranny that fights in AEW. We get it.
Yeah, the hatred that runs through me.
Yeah.
No, there's things that I don't like, but there's things that I do like, and there's things that you need to like. I like the idea that there's competition between two,
Mm-hmm.
and if anything, WWE needs to look at AEW's performances and take a step back and realize, okay, like why don't we take this time to maybe put some smaller? If we're going to be doing these shows, let's put the smaller guys out there too, and let them have a chance to shine, and let some of these bigger guys maybe give them some time to rest, so that when all this is past, you get fresher, happier, healthier talent. I don't know.
Yeah. So, the Giant, in his time in WWF, I don't know about his time outside of it. I don't know how much they talk about it. But he had his feuds, I guess, personal and business feuds. And business, I would say, in the, storyline feuds. And personal, I would say people he didn't like that he just beat the shit out of in the ring because, fuck you, I'm Andre the Giant.
Because he could.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're gonna stop him?
Yeah. Who's gonna stop him? Nobody.
I mean, the Iron Sheik was humbled.
Yeah.
Jake the Snake gets his Andre would step on his hair and pull him up
Yeah. So
Macho lost hair.
Yeah. So he bullied Macho Man a lot. He would sit on Macho Man's head, actually put his weight on Macho Man's head. He would pull Macho Man's hair, and so I know a lot of wrestlers pull hair and fuck with the hair, but here's the thing: Macho Man had that really wiry hair, that frizzed out, burnt hair. It looked It looked like it
I'm
was
looking at it
treated with
right
chemicals.
now.
Yeah. He's talking right now. He's yelling at us right now. Actually, I have that Macho Man. I have that figure of that Macho Man.
Nice. You got the WrestleMania 3 Macho?
Yeah. You want to see it?
Yeah. Setting up for right now, if you are watching, we're about to get into what they say is the greatest WrestleMania match of all time. But
There's no belt.
so this is post WrestleMania 3.
Does he lose it here?
Yeah,
Yeah. See,
that
that is
actually,
him, right?
you know what though?
That is
He
that
might,
exact same fig, right?
yeah, he could have the belt though because his robe is closed.
Yeah. No, but I've seen the fig opened. He doesn't have it in it.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
I
I
can.
was, it actually sounds terrible because all of a sudden it's like I'm like egging you, like open it, rip it up.
No, they're fucking jerks. They're jerks.
They,
Cause look at it. Look at the side right now.
yeah.
It has. Hey, who knows? They might have not had the belt on them. But
Yeah.
I have Razor with the belt up there. It came with Diesel,
I,
but I put it on Razor.
that's the one you put with the ladder.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I like
know it,
that
buddy.
one.
You
I
know
see. I
it.
love
Yeah.
that picture.
Yeah. I need to open up a second figure with the other belt so I could put it in his head. Well, this year the one in blue's coming out, the Razor in blue's coming out because that
Oh,
that
nice.
one's a basic. So I'm gonna buy the Razor in blue, and I'll be able to have them all articulated and badass up there.
Right on.
Yeah, so that's what's gonna happen with that one. Yeah, but he picked on Macho Man a lot. Macho Man right now is gonna face Ricky Steamboat. He's got the big old robe. Well, if you guys saw the fig, that's the one I have. Look at this. Look at Ricky in his fucking karate gear with the bandana.
Yeah, I love Steamboat in the karate gi.
Mm-hmm.
So good, so classic.
Is this after the concussion or before the concussion from Roddy Piper?
Jake the Snake, you mean?
Yeah, sorry.
I think this is before. I think it was in '88 was the concussion.
Mm-hmm.
And this is '87.
Okay.
I think I could be wrong.
Okay. Yeah. So another guy that he did not like personally was Big John Studd. And I guess professionally as well, because he did have feuds with Big John Studd, and he did have a lot of feuds with bigger guys, King Kong Bundy, I think Killer Khan, just guys that were kind of considered giants in their own, I guess in their own regions or in their own promotions or from their own, he's the giant from here, he's the giant from here.
Yeah.
Well, here's the real giant, Andre the Giant. And
with especially as like Big John Studd was also like on so much HGH or the early kind of HGH. He was taking so many supplements to get himself to be bigger because he was like tall big, but he wasn't like thick big. Mm-hmm. So he did a lot of things that which caused him to die at such a young age too. Yeah, he Andre always looked at this is things that I've heard that Andre looked at him as being like a fake giant and trying to steal his thunder.
Okay.
And that's why he had such a problem with him. Because you're it's like one of those things like, hey, you're already tall. Do you have to steal my gimmick while you're at it? Mm-hmm. Can't just be a tall guy. But yeah, I never really got into Big John Studd too much. He was before my time, and
I was born '88, so this is before my time, and that's how big of a star Andre the Giant was. You still hear about him till this day with the Andre the Battle Memorial. Mm-hmm. Even when I started watching wrestling, even though it was after his time, or when he retired, I don't think he was dead yet, but he was still talked about a lot, even as fans, like, oh, the Andre the Giant. So you would know who he was, and I'd seen this documentary before, but it was nice to go see this documentary, get a little bit of history, and then watch a couple matches because we checked out the Randy Savage versus Andre the Giant at the main event for Randy Savage's belt, where Jake the Snake comes out with the snake, and I forgot who takes it. Bobby the Brain Heenan takes it.
Yeah, Bobby the Brain takes from underneath the ring.
Yeah, and I think they disqualify Andre for Bobby the Brain getting in the ring, so that's how.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, yeah, he put the snake in the ring, or the bag anyway, and came into the ring because Jake came out. So like during the match, Jake comes out, talks to Macho, and then leaves, and then Bobby the Brain Heenan's looking underneath the ring and finds the bag, and Jake comes out to stop him, and Bobby the Brain Heenan throws the bag into the ring, goes into the ring to get away from Jake, gets disqualified. Then they knock Bobby into the Giant. He gets tangled up into the ropes, and then they break the snake out. Mm-hmm. because that was supposed to be the one thing that scared him was the snake. That was supposed to be it. The only thing that the giant's afraid of is snakes.
Who isn't afraid of snakes, bro?
Me.
What?
Oh, I love snakes.
Rattlesnake? Do you really?
Oh yeah.
White people,
When,
you guys are crazy.
when we go for trail walks, me and the kids were always looking for snakes.
Is that your white person thing? Like you love snakes?
Maybe. I don't know.
White
I know
people
a lot
love
of white people that don't like snakes.
white people love snakes.
Yeah.
The only snakes in Mexico that I ever seen or heard of were the rattlesnakes.
The Mexican rattler.
Yeah, you don't want to fuck with those. The diamondbacks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of diamondbacks around there. I used to kill them as a kid. I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah, well, we knew they were fucking dangerous, so we'd kill them and walk by them.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, all it took was your dad sits you down, shows you Jake the Snake. You attacking Macho Man with the Cobra. He says, "You see anything with no legs?" Head comes off.
I guess being older now, you could shoo them away, but no, they could kill your livestock. They could kill your dog. You can accidentally walk by them and they fuck you up. So you don't want them breeding anywhere around you or being around you. Because they are dangerous and they will kill you. Especially over there in Mexico where I'm from, you're on a farm. It takes so long to get to a place of medical assistance. And then
that's true. Yeah.
If they don't have shit over there for you, you're fucked.
Yeah, it's a slow and painful.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, rattlesnake. You're not that important.
With the Texas rattlesnake?
You gotta die. Well, yeah, Austin is, but he's...
Even Austin has said he never liked the nickname, the Texas rattlesnake, because he doesn't like snakes because of what you just said. He grew up in Texas where his family was reliant on certain things that the snakes could prevent from existing. So he was taught at the young age, don't like snakes.
Yeah. So he would Andre would beat the shit out of Andre the Giant. He would beat the shit out of John Studd. He was the only giant. What else on Andre the Giant? I guess we could get into some of his feuds that he had in the WWE. Some of his most famous feuds. I guess his most famous feuds would come against Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, I'd probably say his biggest ones were, I'd guess, Hogan and Warrior. Were probably
Hogan, Warrior.
The two bigger. I mean, I guess maybe it's really just Hogan, and then you get
the Heenan family.
You kind of get like Jake the Snake, Macho Man, Warrior. When he turns face, when after his heel run, turns on Haku and the Heenan family. He kind of went after them a bit, but it was really Hogan, and then a bunch of secondary feuds. Even Big John Studd you can throw in there.
Yeah, so feuds. Let's see, what feuds do you want to get into? We get into a couple of them, I guess.
We can start right off the bat with Hogan and just talk about the big one.
The Hogan big one was WrestleMania 3, right?
Starting with WrestleMania 3 and then wrapping up at WrestleMania 4 with the full year.
Okay, yeah. So WrestleMania 3 is where Hogan and him are in front of 96,375 million.
Million?
I don't know.
Damn, that's a big show.
Well, it's the big show. But that's where he slammed that big stinky giant and was able to get the leg drop on Hulk Hogan. We were led into that because Hulk Hogan was the champion. I think he had been undefeated for a year, or he was just a champion undefeated for a year. But
yeah,
they gave him a big old gold trophy, and then they presented Andre with a smaller silver trophy for being undefeated for 15 years. So that's kind of where it stems, where he's like, fuck this, why didn't I get a badass trophy? Why don't I get a title shot? So then this is where he wants to get a title shot. And he goes at Hogan, rips his shirt off, demands a title shot. I challenge you, Hogan, for the title. And Hogan's crying because
I loved that in the documentary. Because I've seen that so many times, and I've never seen Hogan put his hand up to put. Don't do it,
Ryan. Don't ruin it for everybody.
What?
Don't ruin.
Come on.
Ruin the... No, go ahead.
Come on. It's 34 years old.
Yeah,
33 years old.
Go ahead.
But was it Vaseline or
Vaseline.
mixed
Vapor Rub? Vapor Rub.
Vapor Rub. Yeah. went to go put it in his eye so it would irritate his eye to make it look like he was crying because it was, as Hogan said, it was supposed to be an emotional betrayal. And as Andre's grabbing him, he actually ended up cutting himself right below his eye.
Well, he was like going for it, and
he like jabs his face up, and he looks up. You see like the blood on his chest. I never noticed that for some. I don't know what it was. I don't know why. I've never seen Hogan put his hand up like that. I guess it's the Andre grabbing his shirt and ripping it. It's obviously more distracting than what someone's hand is doing. But that was a fun little sneak peek behind the curtains, I guess.
Yeah, yep, pretty awesome sneak peek. So he rips Hogan's shirt off. Hogan accepts the challenge. We have Wrestlemania 3.
And Hogan looking like Scarface, looking like he just did a massive line. It's like, yeah! Like he was hulked up when he accepted that challenge.
Yeah, super hulked up. They were doing lines. I don't care what anyone says.
Oh God, yeah. Well, I don't know if Andre could, because he'd probably be spending way too much just trying to get the smallest little buzz. Probably wouldn't be worth his time.
Yeah, and that's what sucks. That's what probably led to a faster death. Not only refusing to get the surgery, but drinking a lot.
Drinking tons, like, was it 20 bottles of wine in one seating once? Like, just ridiculous amounts.
God damn.
Yeah. But yeah, this was the catalyst that really WrestleMania was big. WrestleMania 2 they were still kicking around, doing well, but this is what like really blew wrestling into like the mainstream was Hogan and Andre. WrestleMania 3. This was like the big thing.
Yeah. So Hogan lands the big slam. Andre goes slam me, Hogan. Hogan slams him, and then he's like leg drop. Hogan hits him with a leg drop, and he gets to 1, 2, 3.
And Hogan was afraid going into that match what Andre was going to do, because if Andre wanted the 3 count, he was going to get the 3 count. You're not kicking 600 pounds off your shoulders if he didn't want it being kicked up.
Yeah, no, and I guess McMahon and Andre had already talked about it, and they had talked about it with Hogan too, but Andre was playing around with Hogan a lot, and that's why he didn't know what was going on. Andre wouldn't tell him the finish. He wouldn't tell him if he was going to put him over. But it's not like Andre was saying that he was going to double cross him. It's just everyone knew if Andre didn't want to, Andre wasn't going to put anyone over. That was always in the back of their mind. They just wanted to make sure. There's WrestleMania 3 in Madison Square Garden. Hogan,
and that's the thing, like a lot of the times Andre if he was losing the match, it was like a count out or disqualification. It wasn't like necessarily, you didn't really pin him, especially like in this era. And that was where the fear came from. It was like, okay, this is the first time that everyone's going to see him getting pinned. Like, does he if he doesn't want to get pinned that way, he doesn't have to.
You can call it however he wants. So Hogan's able to get the pin, and it's probably the greatest moment of wrestling history all time.
Yeah, that Hogan slamming Andre was probably like the biggest, and it kind of sucks now because you see guys like the Big Show get slammed and get I guess it was the FU at the time. You do see these guys now, these giant, larger-than-life characters getting slammed and finished a lot easier than it used to. So it makes it that much better to see Andre get picked up that way. Because before, the match even starts off that way, right? Couple shots, he went for the slam, he couldn't get him up, and Andre ends up falling on him to get the 1-2 kick out.
Yep. Was it how much after was it, the Sunday main event? How long after?
I want to say it was in 88. I want to say it was maybe December 87, January 88, because it led into WrestleMania that year where there was no champion.
Okay. So they took a while then.
Yeah, it was definitely because they also didn't have like I guess not having too many TV shows and too many and well, 2-3 pay-per-views at that time a year maybe. Um, yeah, they. I'm not really sure Hogan and I guess a lot of DiBiase feuding around that time, which kind of lighted why Andre was with DiBiase on the main event special that they ended up doing.
Well, DiBiase buys Andre the Giant's contract from Million Dollar Man, or no, sorry, from Bobby the Brain.
From Bobby the Brain, yeah.
Yeah. So we get the feud started with Bobby the Brain giving him the idea of the match against Hogan, and then from there we have Million Dollar Man buying Andre's services, and that's the Heenan family, right? Where it's Andre the Giant, Mr. Perfect, Jimmy
Haku.
Haku. Is it Jimmy Hart? No, right?
No, Jimmy Hart wasn't just another manager.
Okay.
Barbarian was in there for a bit. I want to say Boss Man when he was a heel for a little bit, but I think he was Jimmy Hart guy. But yeah, there was a bunch of Mr. Perfect, Rick Rude with Haku, the big ones, along with Andre, and then other guys would kind of come in and leave periodically.
Yeah, so this would kind of set up the next feud or continue the feud with Hogan later on when he faces Hogan. He's under the management of the Million Dollar Man. So when he faces Hogan, we have one of Conrad says it's probably the greatest angle. Bruce Pritchard says it's probably one of the greatest gimmicks or angles. A lot of people say it's probably one of the greatest, not only because it was the first one, because of how it was pulled off, and it is a pretty damn badass angle.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Especially because back then you didn't know the Hebner twins, right? You didn't like there were, unless you subscribed to the dirt sheets, you didn't know a lot of that stuff. So it was believed that Million Dollar Man paid some guy to get surgery to look like a referee.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know or have never watched wrestling or just getting into this podcast, Hogan gets slammed. Andre falls on him for the pin. It's a 1, a 2. Hogan lifts the arm up. The ref counts to 3. One of the Hebners counts to 3. Hogan is super pissed because Andre pinned them. Was it in the ring? Was it in the very ring that Andre hands over the belt?
Yeah. So
okay.
Andre pins him, gets the 3 count. He's the champion, and then he walks over and he announces that he's giving the tag team titles to Million Dollar Man. And I think that Bruce Pritchard said that's the only downfall of that entire angle is that Andre got the titles wrong. Yeah. I give Ted DiBiase the tag team titles.
Where in reality he was giving him the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah. Ted DiBiase's new Winged Eagle.
Yeah. So Ted DiBiase's pretty much buying the title off of Andre the Giant, which later on would go on to be reversed by Jack Tunney, I think.
Yeah, I think Ted DiBiase will defend the title once at a house show, and that was the only time that he defended the title. After that, they decided to do the WrestleMania 4 angle. It was February 5th, 1988 was the date of this. The 2 ref false finish thing, or not false finish, but
Sunday Night Main Event versus Hogan, 88.
88, yeah.
After this, at that point, WrestleMania 3, Andre was very much on a decline. He actually wanted to retire. Vince McMahon had convinced him to do the work or put over Hogan, kind of pass the torch, and make Hogan the new superstar, the new larger-than-life kind of guy in the eyes of the fans by putting Hogan over in the manner.
Yeah, and this is also the time. Hey, Colby. This is the time where we ended up seeing a lot of tag team matches with Andre. You started seeing him tag with Million Dollar Man. You see him teaming with Haku. You see him tagging with Demolition. You see him tagging with a lot of different guys because he couldn't carry the workload, no matter how small it was. His programs after this were also like with the Ultimate Warrior, where he was doing a lot of. He was actually getting squashed in 30 seconds in a lot of matches, because he just didn't have it in him to go super, super, super long.
No, well, after this, we kind of see him go on and have like matches where he's just holding on to the ropes. He needs a lot of assistance. He's not in there long. Like you mentioned, he's a lot of tag team matches, so he can be on the outside. He doesn't have to put in a lot of work. They were doing a lot of spots that would be easy on Andre's joints or conserve his energy. They had fitted him with a customized brace to give him more back support because I think he had broken his leg at one point after the movie or during the movie.
Yeah, his ankle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they had to like some doctor had to do like some serious work on the ankle.
Yeah.
And you could see it like too, like in his later matches, like you said, like even if he was in a tag team match, he would be leaning on the turnbuckles more than anything. He wouldn't just be standing there he's not trying to get the crowd going. He's not walking the apron a little bit. He was just leaning there. You could tell that he wasn't in his prime. And especially so, like, it's noticeable when anyone's not in their prime anymore, but when you're that big and you know that life's going to be short already, your body can't, like, his body couldn't sustain that weight and that girth anymore.
What? Girth? Yeah, no, after this, it gets pretty sad, man. I know he had to pass the torch, but even then, it was a little hard to watch. He still was struggling a lot. I know it had to be done, but it accomplished what they wanted it to accomplish.
Yeah, definitely.
And we had the superstar that was, and still is to this day, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, like Hogan, winning the title off the Sheik, and then main eventing WrestleMania 1, WrestleMania 2. He was big, but it wasn't until WrestleMania 3 where he took right off, and then he's gonna defend the title against Andre, and it's the screw job finish supposedly. What's going on, leading into WrestleMania 4, and they're gonna have the rematch, and everyone thought there was gonna be Hogan and Andre in the finals of WrestleMania 4 for the title, and they end up being a first round matchup, which was like everyone's like, well, what the hell are you doing putting them at number 1? And it was all just the storyline of obviously you want to get them both eliminated. So they did the double count out work in the tournament. But that was it. That was the end of the rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
Hogan ends up helping Macho win the title at the end. And now instead of Hogan and Andre, it's the Mega Powers and the Mega Bucks throughout the summer. It's you're going to see this is where Macho starts feuding with Million Dollar Man and with Andre the Giant back and forth throughout the rest of the year, leading into the SummerSlam matchup where the Mega Powers versus the Mega Bucks when Miss Elizabeth reveals her bikini bottoms.
What?
Which is funny because you go back and you watch that SummerSlam, like when she takes her skirt off and she's got like just like the bikini bottoms. That was so taboo back then.
Isn't it like One Piece? Isn't it like covering up a bunch? And they're like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, like nothing is showing. It's like you would see a beach, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" going crazy. And it's like Macho's like, "I don't know. I don't want her showing too much," but they made it seem like she was walking around buck naked.
Ooh. Yeah, well, and I think that's what Macho Man compromised too. He wasn't gonna let it happen unless that's his way.
Yeah, he was only gonna let so much to be seen.
Anything else on the Giant besides that, Ryan?
Uh
There's not really a lot, man.
no,
I
I
don't.
mean after this, he has a feud with the Warrior, like we had
Mhm.
mentioned, to kind of get the Warrior up, leading into his big push with the Intercontinental title and into his run with Hogan. And then he makes a couple appearances here and there. But by the end, it was just he was coming out with like those braces, and he was walking down like with the
Yeah.
braces around his wrist, and it just did not seem like. I mean, you watch it now, and it's like, oh God, like why did they have like I get it, I guess,
Yeah.
but
You know
at
he
the
re-
same time, it's
you know
like
his last
why?
his last appearance was in WCW, right?
I was about to say that, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It sucks. It sucks because towards the end it got really sad. But he died, I guess, what he loved doing, wrestling. I know he was like his dad got very ill, and he went to go visit him in Paris because his dad was dying. And once he got there, I think like a couple of days later, his dad died. And there's pictures of Andre like in the documentary, and they show him really, really sick, like jaundice or
Yeah, he didn't look good at all. Like you could tell that his body was shutting down.
it looks like he has cirrhosis of the liver from Dr. Kramer, from what I can remember from Seinfeld.
Um,
Was it cirrhosis of the liver?
yeah, 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 because Kramer had gonorrhea, and then he wanted cirrhosis of the liver,
Yeah, so he stole it,
the
right?
granddaddy of diseases.
And he painted
Steals it
his
from
face and
Mickey.
everything. Yeah, and he painted his
Yeah,
face.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, that's
yeah.
right.
Andre looked really bad. Like he had looked
He
really
didn't
like
know.
yellow and like dark circles
And
around his
and well,
eyes.
it was like the day after his father's funeral, something like that, or like the day before he was supposed to travel. He was at his father's funeral in France,
Hmm.
and he was found the next day. I don't know if it was. I think it was the day after his dad was buried that he was found dead. So it's like, ugh. I mean, he was always going to be on borrowed time,
Hmm.
but like they said, like in that documentary, like he was in so much pain all the time that a lot of the reason why he drank was just to escape the pain. Like people calling him out at airports and things like that, like pointing at him like he's a freak show, yeah, like this oddity, if you would. And you don't think of it, right? Like for me, if I were to see it, I'm like, holy Christ, that's Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
But if you didn't watch wrestling, you'd be like, what in the hell is that guy?
Hmm.
And like and yeah, that can play with your psyche, especially back then when the wrestlers were supposed to be like those super tough, mentally, nothing can phase them kind of guys. You got to suffer in pain.
Do you think he's one of the last remnants of Anunnaki? The You know what I'm talking about?
No.
The creators of humans, the ancestors of way before everything, the ones that came here from a different planet. I think, if I'm correct, came here from a different planet and manipulated monkey DNA.
I've never heard this.
Yes. You've never seen Ancient Aliens?
No.
You've never watched Ancient Aliens?
No.
You should light up a bowl and watch Ancient Aliens.
Is
Well,
this is that I feel like I've seen the meme. Is that the guy that has like this wonky
yeah,
hair?
yeah.
I've seen that picture. I didn't know what it was on the History Channel.
Season one. I say season one. I only got into season one. There's a lot of seasons because after season one, they get deeper and deeper and deeper, and it just becomes way too like this is just too crazy for me to believe anymore. But I would
Right.
say season one is pretty awesome. Just as like I don't know, they go into ancient civilizations and they're like, what if? And they go into crazy stretches of like because they do find like little replicas of like toys that are like really small, but
Right.
they look like flies, but they also look like flying vehicles, and
Huh.
they make exact replicas of them, and then they add like a motor to them, and they fly perfectly, and they're like super aerodynamic, and they go over like the different structures and how they were built, and like or how they think they were built, and like how they think they could have built them because they don't even have technology nowadays to even like replicate the building methods that they had and how precise they were. It get
That's crazy.
yeah, it's pretty awesome. Just as a I don't know, it's not a documentary or anything. It's just kind of like they get into the chariots of the gods and the fingerprints of the gods, like books like that have been written by
And
different
so Andre kind of
archaeologists.
fits into that kind or the DNA manipulation.
Yeah, it might. Is he like one of the last remnants of giants? Because people say that there were giants before, that they found giant like skeletons, and that there were like big people, really big giant people. Is Andre one of them? Dun, dun, dun.
Why not?
Who knows? It could be one of those. Nah, well, like I said,
I
like
guess.
they said,
Well,
he had
no,
a
big show.
Big Show too. But I guess they have that gland or that pituitary gland.
Yeah.
Thing.
I mean, I wouldn't put anything past the Illuminati, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
The Illuminati could be doing this coronavirus thing right now. Everyone's saying
I heard someone told me the conspiracy that they are
the 5G thing.
There's what's the no? This is just the Illuminati wants to wipe out 80% of the population, so they're using coronavirus to achieve their goal.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna stay in my room and I'm gonna try to stay as quarantined as possible. I can't go to work, so
Sucks.
yeah. So please tune into the podcast. I'm probably gonna be doing video. I'm probably just gonna be uploading me playing video games. I'll see if I can connect my mic, and if you guys comment on there, I'll be able to comment back on the YouTube. But I don't know if I'll be able to get my camera to work on there. I won't be able to process both of them. Like I said, I'm gonna drop my check into a new computer. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, we might be able to link up one of these random days too. If you're off and you want something to do, we can do a random afternoon show.
Cool.
So.
Yeah, because Raw and all these other shows have kind of been sucky. AEW's been pretty good though.
That's what we'll do. We can put on like an old Raw or an old SmackDown.
Yeah.
Instead of making people watch the current product.
Yeah. Reminisce about the good old days. We'll get through this. It's affected everyone. It's now affecting me. In a small way, but still, you never know. You got to take your precautions, be safe. I'm going to try to avoid doing as much as possible. I made my nephew go out and get cauliflower so we can eat today. I have everything else to be able to cook anyway. So, if tomorrow I'm good, then I'll be able to go get my groceries. If tomorrow I wake up with no symptoms, if my throat isn't sore, because they say it's a drastic change. They say your throat gets sore, you start coughing, and you get a fever right away. So if tomorrow in the morning I feel fine, I think I'll be good enough to go to the store. I'll still be very safe, keep clean, wash my hands right before I go, and then go out. And I'll even take Clorox wipes and wipe my hand right before I leave the car. And social distance at the store and get out as soon as possible.
So if you're listening, people in Champlain, Illinois, is that where are you right in Chicago?
I'm in Chicago.
You are. All right. So to all the listeners in Chicago, stay away tomorrow if you see Raph, because if his symptoms are not, he's venturing outside.
Yeah,
get the feds on you.
I need to go get groceries. Like I said, I have no symptoms, no fever, no cough, no sore throat.
You should see the cops here, man. Every time I go out the window, I see cop cars zipping around because they're checking around. Just like you know that they're checking to see if there's large crowds hanging out so that they can break it up.
Yeah, the little times I have gone out, like today, I went to go get some money from the ATM. They were the cops are kind of just like stopped in the middle of the street. Like, not like parked on the side. Like they're just kind of stopped there because there's no traffic. There's really no people that are supposed to be not even on those streets anyway. But they're kind of just waiting around because I guess they're all driving around seeing if, and they don't really need to be driving around. There's no one out. It was kind of empty anyway.
It's weird to see, eh?
There's not a lot of
like
cars.
Like Resident Evil.
Yeah, the guy that might have gotten me sick, that his girlfriend might have gotten sick from the patient. He said he lives kind of further, so he goes down the expressway. He's like, dude, it's crazy. It usually takes me an hour. He's like, I've been getting home in 15 minutes. It's because there's no cars, there's no traffic.
Yeah.
So,
$20 is that the coronavirus started with Joe Exotic.
You think he started it?
Oh, he had to
have. Like we mentioned, let's bring it to a close. I guess I got nothing else. Let's see. When did he die? He died January 27th, 1993, on a visit to France when he was visiting his dying father. And that was the end of him.
And I think he was the first inductee in the Hall of Fame.
First and only for that year.
Yeah. And then that was way before they had any production that they have now, before WrestleMania. This was like the Hall of Fame inductions were done 1 year Survivor Series, 1 year King of the Ring, 1 year like there was nothing special about it. It was just an announcement of these people are now officially legends, and then eventually grew into what we know it as now. But
Damn, when he died, the year that he died, they inducted him. Then that's when it was created.
yeah, and then a couple years later they get the Onto the Giant Memorial Battle Royale at WrestleMania. They've been doing that for how many years now? Like 5, 6 years, probably.
Definitely 4. This might be the 5th.
Yeah, I think it started like 31 or something around there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Quick side note. Paul White, the Giant from WCW, they billed him as Andre the Giant's son.
Yeah, I heard that somewhere. Or like, yeah, that was supposed to be the original angle of it. That's why he just went by the Giant, and that was it.
Yeah, that's all on that. Thanks a lot, Ryan, for joining me. You got any last words before we get out of here?
Enjoy quarantine. It's something. It's different times. We're all adapting.
Yeah.
We'll get through this one way or another.
Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy my couple of days off. Like I said, I feel fine. He's fine. His girlfriend's fine. My boss and my supervisor both called me and told me to stay home. Everything's fine on their end with me staying home because they don't want me to get anyone sick, just in case. This wasn't anything on me or my end, so I have nothing to worry about. We're all taking precautionary measures because of the severity of this thing that no one. Well,
exactly.
We don't want to overwhelm the Medicare system. We don't want to the medical fucking.
You don't want to have thousands of people going to the hospital
For no reason.
Yeah.
Or for
stupidly
passing infection.
Exactly. It's not like it's not like a mass shooting where all of a sudden, boom, like you could not have seen that coming. This is something that is preventative if proper measures are taken. So it's one of those things where you can prevent people from getting sick. You can prevent people from having to go to the hospital. We just got to listen to what the medical experts say and not what Donald Trump says.
Stay home.
Yeah. Stay home, take care of yourself, and that's it. Then we'll all be happy. We'll all have a job to go back to.
Yep. Uh-oh.
Fire alarm going off. Fire. We're burning down over here.
All right. Before you burn to death, Ryan, thanks a lot, everyone, for joining me. I will see you guys next time on the Full Heel Podcast. Please hit that subscribe button on either iTunes, YouTube, Podbean, Stitcher, all that good stuff. Share with your friends. Share on your page. The more you share, the more algorithms get hit with this, and the more downloads people get. And I've been getting a lot of downloads this month. So help me try to beat last month. This month definitely won, but just keep the downloads coming. Keep the subscriptions coming. Really helps out the show. Like I said, I'm going to invest in a new computer. So only better things coming for the Full Heel Podcast, unless I have coronavirus, then I might die. But I don't think that's going to happen, so I'm not trying to jinx myself. Thanks a lot, Ryan. Let's see if we do maybe another one of these quarantine tapes, because I am under quarantine officially. So stay away from me. And I'll see you guys next time on the Full Heel Podcast.